Alright, today I got a Toro CCR2450, guaranteed to start, 5 horse, 20 inch. This one's got that legendary engine that Toro built their reputation on, so I deem it to be worth fixing. This one is auction purchase as is. Don't know much about it. Let's get into it, and I'll show you what to look for on this generation of machine. This is 80s, 90s at the very earliest. It's not new, but it is as I stated, a legendary design. The engines are real good, the parts are easy to come by, and most things on it are fairly easy to fix. So I pulled it over a couple times just to make sure the engine sounds viable. And let's put some fuel in there. Let that work its way down into that carburetor a little bit there. Set you guys back a hair. Choke on, key on, give it a couple primes. Hey, not bad. See if this recoil wants to go back. There it goes. She was just stuck there for a minute. Like anything that doesn't get used often. Okay, engine seems to run. Now, let's go over the machine in general and see what else we got going on. Not locked up, turns nice. That piece is still free. Little floppy. They've been used. Look at the wear parts on the front end. That's super important on these Toros. So I'm just going to go over the wear parts on the Toros. You got this bottom scraper bar. That's what scrapes against the ground and you know, directs it up into here. You got this back plate, which just guides the snow up and into the chute. And then you got these paddles, which are made out of rubber, and it's laminated. It's got like stitching in there. And these are the main wear part, but usually you replace the belt, the paddles, and the scraper bar as a pair. You'll know when your paddles are down because they may have a drill mark in there. And if you could look at that drill mark, we're way right at the drill mark. These paddles used to be, if you can see that rubber sticking up, another, I'm going to say, 1/4, 3/8 inch, maybe as much as a 1/2 inch. I don't know how much is really worn off of there. Bigger. And when they wear out, they will not grab that snow well because you have a finger's width behind there where nothing is flowing. The paddle has nothing to sweep against, if that makes sense. I've found that in selling these, people don't know the difference. If the engine starts up, buzzes, makes noise, they're happy. They will not pay me extra for a rebuilt machine. So I stopped selling these rebuilt, except to people I know, because all the money you put in, they just view it as a used machine, and they don't care if it has, $60 worth of new wear parts put on it. They just want it to something that runs and Presumably looks good in front of the neighbors. One of the other big fails you'll get on these is right here. And what you're looking at there is this plate wraps around. It goes forward and wraps around. Well, you could see it's worn completely through on the edge here, and you even got the piece of metal that was over here bent out of the way. Now, you look at that and you think, oh, big deal. Well, it is a huge deal, because that snow is gonna get up in there, and it's gonna make that belt, which is just inside there, slip, and this whole machine becomes a 5 horsepower useless boat anchor. So you need to make sure that that is sealed up, or get a new side plate. I believe through Toro that should still be available. If not, get a good used one. I suppose if you were crafty you could weld something there, but once that wears through, she's gonna get the belt wet and it's gonna slip. You can easily make a mistake of buying it with any of these parts that haven't been replaced and turn what is a running machine into something that seems near useless. Now, maybe you saw that as I was just tipping that back up, but there's a big puddle of fuel and another puddle of fuel that I think is still happening, unless that's just dripping off of the residual. The carburetor must have been filled with gas as I hit it sitting backwards improperly. But I'm wondering if that carburetor isn't still leaking, so I'll probably end up either changing or at least checking the float bowl, the needle and seat. Okay, so this one is basically getting a full going through. I'm going to just start taking it apart. Starting with the control plate. That's got the primer bulb attached to the base, so you don't have to mess with it. Now, the screws that are never going to come out, which is going to be these, which end up coming through down at the bottom. On the top they're a Phillips, and on the bottom there's one there. Top they're Phillips, bottom they're 7/16, I believe. And the odds of those coming out without breaking them clean off are pretty low from my experience. Let's see what this one will do. That actually came off. Unbelievable. Dropping my washers everywhere. Nothing better than an impact for bolts you think don't want to come out. Sorry about all the shadows, but it's one of the last warm days I got. Let me collect all that hardware, I'll bring it back. That gives us some access. Now I'm just going to tip it forward. I want to actually get to the carburetor on this we're going to take this off. We're going to leave that black plate with the machine, and we're going to take this part off. I think these are 3/8, I mean. These go from here through the plastic into the control plate backing. Now we got our carburetor right in front of our face. It's a very simple system here. Fuel line, screen, carburetor. On this, I want to check my carburetor out. Now that we got it open, I'm just going to take the bowl off, see what it looks like in there, see what that needle looks like, and then we can assess also if it is flooding out. I'll add some more fuel, let it sit level, and do a second determination on that. Yeah, it's got some floaties in there, some debris. Oh, and I just dropped that needle right down in there. Bring you back when I find that. And you thought I'd never find it. Because it ran fine, I'm not going to go into that carburetor any farther, except to check the needle, and I did. There's no debris in the thing, so what we can do is just let it sit and make sure it holds gas. If it leaks through, I'll just replace the carburetor. Too many parts in my hand here. Got a little crust there, nothing to worry about. Don't forget your little gasket on the bottom of the bowl. And also start by one of the easiest projects of all, most beneficial, a new spark plug. And I've got the wrong size socket for it. Okay, now I got the machine back on its feet, or wheels, if it may, as it may be. I'm going to fill that up with as much fuel as I've got, and then I'm going to watch down in the bottom of that little bowl, that little air intake and the carburetor itself, to see if that carburetor's needle and seat are going to hold or not. Okay, so that gas I saw before that was dripping must have been just from whatever had filled the carburetor area there when I had it tipped backwards, and was still dripping off the carburetor. This carburetor is not leaking. The weather's turning on me, folks. The video started with a nice sunshine, and not so much now. It's getting cold. There goes that carburetor spilling over. That's what I did last time. Tipped it. Alright, now that we know the carburetor isn't going to leak, we can put this bottom plate on. We won't have to mess with this anymore. This hook goes around this choke. So we got to get all this lined up here. What goes first? This goes first. And then that piece sneaks under there. No, that probably didn't go first. This piece should be on. Then this piece. There we go. Now I just got to line up those holes. Now before I get too excited, make sure that choke is attached to something. Yes, it is. And as I was wiggling everything, this came off for like the third time. Why isn't that locking? There it goes. You got to put it up farther. Okay. And I found on two different areas on this machine, 9 of 99. That's when this machine's from. This is much newer than a lot of them that are the same style. Possibly that's why the bolts came out easily, because it is newer than I had suspected it was. Got the front bolts on already. And I didn't have to take that top half off. I just wanted to get in there, look at the whole machine, see if I could find anything else that needed to be fixed. The bottom part is really all I had to take off. Now I just got it tipped on its side just to make it easy to look at. I'm going to open up the belt cover. Is it 7/16? Maybe. Something's going on. Yes, it is. That one's a nut. This one's a nut. I think that one just goes into a threaded. No nut on the other side of that one. Ah. Yeah, I think that belt's pretty stretched. More than I've seen on most of them. Idler pulley looks fine. So I've got you zoomed in on that corner. Now this is the piece that I was mentioning. It'll allow water to get up on that belt, and as soon as it does, the belt just stops. You touch it to snow and it just stops. So you can see that it's worn through. So what you want to find is a new one, or in my case, a good used one with a good lip all the way around. Perfect. Let me pull this belt off of here, and let's see if I have the right one in stock. This one is 640T3055616. I'm not seeing the number I'm looking for. 06-6161. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. Unfortunately, I don't have the belt in stock. No big deal. I got the side panel off anyway, and I'm going to change the paddles, and I'm going to change the scraper bar. Don't have those either, so I'll just wait, get everything together, and then do it all at once. So just for the sake of making a video, I'm going to take the parts off, and putting them back on would be just the reverse of what I'm doing. And if yours comes off that easy, I'd be amazed, because I've never seen it happen. That's the scraper bar. It's made to be a wear part, made to be replaced. Alright, now I got the paddle there. And by the way, you can check the end bearings, make sure they're still good while you're here. Let's see if these were 7/16. Lay that right down in the grass where I'll never find them again. That one slipped off. Now, these two on each end of each pedal are star bit on the front and nut on the back. Proper size bit is a T27. T25 almost made it, but I don't think so. Not for me. I'm going to try to loosen them from the back a little bit first. The reason is these go through rubber and they might want to strip out if they don't release the rubber. See, now I got it released in the rubber. Then they'll come out easy. If you strip it right away, you're going to hate your life. And these have built-in spacer on there. On some models of the Toro, these spacer discs are separate than this, and you'll have to make sure you get them out of your old paddle. You have to recover those because you need to reuse them. Why do I have all these wrenches when I only need the one? Let's get it moving again. Okay. Got it moving. Same thing on the other side. Alright, I got all the hardware. It's as simple as... now these ones do. I may have misspoke earlier. These ones have those things I spoke about, but only in the middle. If you were to smoosh these, you're going to distort them. And these are designed so when you tighten down with the bolt, those don't collapse all the way. So these do have some of those, but not in every hole, just in the holes that go into the center here. And another very important thing I'll mention now, on these paddles, let me get this last one out. On these paddles, there are two edges. If we look at the edge, there's an edge with stitching, and then a bunch of rubber. You want to put them on so the stitching is on the end that wants to fray out. You don't, when this is rolling, it's rolling this way and shooting the snow up. It's going this way. You want to have that on the back side so it does not rat out all that rubber there's a lot of rubber on one side and almost no rubber on the other side. You want to face it so that rubber, the most amount of rubber is on the leading edge and the part with the stitching is on the trailing edge, so it doesn't all rat out. Other than that, as you can see on mine, somebody's got some weeds or something wrapped up in here, so I'll just make sure that comes out. If not, you'll just get it into that end bearing and have nothing but problems. But this one's in great shape. So I'm not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to see the finished product in here, but I got to put the paddles back on, the belt, and the scraper bar. And then this one will be Wildwood certified. Thanks for watching.